also help people that feel like they're ready to channel? Because as you said, everybody's awakening. People are starting to want to channel on their own, and they feel very awkward about having weird sounds coming out, because channeling is not always in English. It can be in all sorts of sounds and clicks and noises. But it's about, in the beginning, letting that vibration emanate through the mouth or sometimes through the body. And so we hold the highest vibration. Will holds vibration. I act as the facilitator, and when I sense that the client is in that relaxed state, then I'll sort of coax out the information, get them in a relaxed state. So the same thing could be done if you're a practitioner and you have them, and you've done the induction, you have them nice and relaxed, you can sort of coax that out of them.
I think a key point in that is to be very aware of your client. So knowing visually what those stages look like in the client. And because, I mean, and I just have to reference back to my very first QHHT session. I mean, vibrationally, I felt connected right away, but I knew I was aware of the room, I was there and everything else. But I would love to have seen a recording, but I guarantee there was a point at which my physical body shifted just enough, maybe just a nuance of when I dropped over that edge into that trance state. But I enter into that just before state. I get to my highest vibrational point right before I bring into my collective or any other being that I'm going to channel, because that's at the highest vibrational state. And I hold that around the client to allow them to relax into their own vibration and allow it to sit there. But it's Allison that really can watch the nuance in the physical presence to know when that tipping point takes place. That's the beauty in it. It's knowing when that tipping point is, that they actually drop into a trance state.
And it doesn't always happen like in my BQH sessions. Sometimes it's the client relaying the information. Every now and then, when you have a client who is that connected and who can easily get into that trance state, then you can ask the guides or the higher self to speak through the client.
And I think too, it's also fair to say that, you know, there is a stark contrast between the trance channel, which I am, and a conscious channel.
A lot of people are nervous about going into the deep trance that requires you to turn off completely and allow another being to speak through your body. I mean, there's a lot of stigma to that in the old energy, especially the older people who've been mediums and channels for a long time, and they're like, nobody's going to take over my body. You know, that's not a good thing. Don't let anything take over your body. And it's not about that. And the energy is so different now that when you know that you're connected and you have a gatekeeper, you're connected to the highest frequencies possible and the most loving beings, and you know that your team is protecting you and your body, then it's okay. But it requires a great level of trust to do that.
Yeah. The first 5 months of that, my body, as I came out of a deep trance state, was, you know, I call it I felt like a wet bag of jello. Everything just did not fit together. I couldn't see straight. I couldn't sit. I couldn't talk. I had to eat something that was high in sugar, like an orange or something, you know, to revive my body, to get the processes started again. And so, you know, I was never fearful at any point along that transition point, along that, that point of integration, because I knew that I was being, I'll say, protected or aligned appropriately. My body was going through an adjustment period. And I knew that. I mean, marathon runners don't just decide they're going to go run a marathon and then day 2, after they strap on their shoes, they run 26 miles.
Right.
They practice. And so I was in my training stage, and my body had to learn how to associate the different levels of energy and the different frequencies of energy and the different, I'll say, beings that I connect to, or different consciousnesses that I connect to. Each one is different. Even now, it's the hundreds that I've done. If there is a new consciousness that I connect to, it takes a second, and it does settle in, and I feel it, and I'll come out the other side, go, whew, that was a solid energy. What was that? Who did we connect to? So it is very real for me. But it is, for me, I have no fear I know from the onset through the channels, from the initial channels, that I selected this for myself. I selected this opportunity for myself to be able to relinquish control of my full aspect of a human, set that aside to allow my energy to connect with whatever consciousness that might be.
I totally get that though, the almost getting acclimated to the energies too, like how you said you had to eat something high in sugar afterwards and you kind of built up your endurance. I think even for practitioners with any kind of energy work, even hypnosis, at first it knocks you out, and then you kind of build up that endurance, and then you can start handling even the higher frequencies. Yeah, I remember my first time where the client connected in with Christ consciousness. I thought I was going to pass out. I'm just like I don't even know, like just sobbing, and my whole body was shaking, and I was like, oh. And the higher self actually was like, okay, ladies, we need to wrap this up now. Like your human
Right.
bodies can only handle so much. And I'm like, okay, I like had it on mute.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. And then,
Yeah.
you know, you need kind of time to recover.
Yep. But it's an amazing space when you step over that threshold and you allow yourself to enter there, for sure.
Yeah, it feels good. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it feels really good.